5 minutes after the top of the hour, find out shortly why people are drinking in front of our building.
Yeah.
It's Oktoberfest.
We caused it.
All right, the three presidential debates are done, but just how important will they be come election
With
day?
us from Washington, D.C. is the author of this book. We had him on before the debate. It's called No Debate, How the Republican and Democrat Parties Secretly Control the Presidential Debates. George Farah, welcome.
Morning. Welcome. Thank you.
George, you lowered my standards. You told me how when the League of Women Voters stopped controlling this, then all of a sudden both candidates, both parties took control and almost scripted it. I saw some unscripted moments. I saw some real passion. I saw real differences. Were you pleasantly surprised?
No, I wasn't pleasantly surprised. There's no question there were engaging moments. There were sharp contrasts between the candidates. It was a relieving break from the 30-second slick commercials we saw during the election season. But still, these could be much better. You compare them to Canada, compare them to debates we held 30 years ago. They were far superior. Last night's debate, the candidates spoke to each other once. There was one follow-up question, no rebuttal for a majority of questions. These guys could bust through these rules and actually go at each other Lincoln Douglas style. We don't need these ridiculous rules constraining the candidates, and that's what happens when you have a corporate-funded bipartisan commission on presidential debates.
Well, that's because everything is so micromanaged, right down to the neckties and the white shirts and the blue suits. George, do you think ultimately, as the Republicans look back at the series of the three debates, they are glad that they agreed to three, because ultimately they did wind up with more concessions from the Democrats, because the Democrats wanted three, the Republicans wanted certain things?
No, I think this is interesting. I think the Republicans may have made a strategic mistake. As a result of getting three debates, they were able to get their format restrictions, which meant the candidates couldn't question each other, restrictive response slots, the limited follow-up questions. But it looked like President Bush, during most of the presidential debates, was more frustrated with the format. If you recall, in the second debate, he jumped up and told the moderator he wanted to speak to Charlie Gibson, and he looked a little bit rude for disrespecting Charlie Gibson, which is the problem. We have formats that make candidates excited, that make candidates who want to engage back and forth look arrogant. We need formats that encourage the candidates to go at each other, that encourage their passion, and that's why these format restrictions ultimately may have cost Bush the presidential debate victories.
So, George, are you telling me you are pro-Charlie Gibson? Because being on another morning show, I find that very disturbing.
No, I'm not pro or anti-Charlie Gibson, but I want to make one point about last night. I thought Bob Schieffer did a remarkable job. He raised four issues that haven't been discussed in the past: minimum wage, income inequality, immigration, gun control. And the only reason why Bob Schieffer was moderating that debate was because the civic community was sick and tired of Jim Lehrer hosting every presidential debate since 1992. We bashed the Commission on Presidential Debates for doing so, and this shows you need a countervailing force resisting the candidates' anti-democratic demands. The Commission's not going to be that force created by the parties, financed by Anheuser-Busch, controlled by the parties. We need a Citizens Debate Commission.
All right, now, I thought the only moment that broke the format, and I may be mistaken here, was when George Bush, when John Kerry says he's coloring my votes, he's changing my votes, I have a different type of votes. I didn't vote the way he said he did, and all of a sudden the president didn't wait to be called on. No one's playing with your votes. And I thought for a second they were going to look at each other and say, want to get rid of Mr. Schaefer and let's just start talking?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That was a moment of passion. The president was angry. He wanted to respond. They should have knocked down that split screen and gone at each other. They don't need these debates. As Tim Russert said, throw out these stupid rules and get at each other. These guys are running to be the most powerful person in the world, to be our president of the United States, and they can't have a real debate?
Hey, George, I know you hate the way they're set up now, but 4 years from now, fast forward, anything going to change? Probably not.
I think so. This is the first time in 16 years an organized opposition to this process, the first time in 12 years, in no small part due to our work, that the 2004 Memorandum of Understanding was released to the public. The media is angry. The American people are angry. I think we're going to have better debates.
All right. Well, last night, by the way, George, first time in American history, I think that a moderator brought up the flu shot. That was
I know. I thought the president's blamed for the flu.
His book is called No Debate. It's an excellent read. George Farah, executive director and founder of Open Debates, a nonpartisan think tank dedicated to reforming the presidential debate process, and the world's longest title. George, thanks.
Thank you so much for having me.
He gets invited to a think tank and he's still in his 20s. What are we doing?